all of the actors out there are going off and saying, gee, cancel culture, the conservatives were against it, weren't they? Now they're all for it. Now, it's pretty interesting right here as we've watched this over the Jimmy Kimmel situation. And I've been arguing with Star Trek actors on X about this situation for a couple of reasons. For one, yes, the situation's out there. And of course, this was a very easy thing for them to do. One of Disney's affiliates went out there and they were going to pull him because they were having problems with a lot of their stations. That affiliate didn't want to run this sort of thing and, of course, piss off the rest of their audience who weren't watching this anyway. It's come out that stats on Jimmy Kimmel were about 169,000 people were watching it. That's not very big for that kind of program, and of course, it probably costs a lot more than that to make. So it was being subsidized. This was an easy thing to, of course, just get rid of because, of course, it was not something that was making money. We're going to see that the Star Trek, of course, Strange New Worlds, Starfleet Academy, are going to be having much the same fate very soon, and it's not because of like the politics of those shows, which, interestingly enough, Strange New Worlds is rumored to have edited out some of their stuff because they wanted to remove some of that woke stuff from it going forward. But it's because, of course, nobody's watching these shows anymore, and they cost a ton to make. It's very interesting right here. Now, I got into it a little with Robert Picardo, who plays the Doctor on Voyager and also is playing the Doctor in the new Starfleet Academy coming up soon. I'm a little nervous about what they're going to do with Star Trek again in a post-Discovery era. That's another story for another time. Now, I'm pretty friendly with him. I do like the guy, even though he's obviously a raging leftist on X. And so I tried to talk about things in terms of, like, what is this cancel culture that they're talking about? Why are they still talking about this? And why are they acting like Jimmy Kimmel being removed is this, like, crazy thing? When, think about this. The left still controls all of Hollywood. They still control all of late-night TV. They still control all of Star Trek and the like, Doctor Who, etc., all the way down the line. So, yes, Jimmy Kimmel got removed for his just awful comments in the wake of a tragedy, and they don't want to deal with that right there. I wouldn't say this is like some sort of thing that the right should jump onto and, of course, accept and get everybody excited about and like be like, we're about free speech. We want the free speech. Because what's happening in Hollywood? Have they renounced any of the canceling of people on the right, of Gina Carano, of Kevin Sorbo, of Owen Benjamin, the comedian? He got canceled a long, long time ago. Of course, Dean Cain's another one. Basically, anybody who speaks out in these situations just gets ostracized forever. And of course, when it comes to the Voyager groups itself, we know exactly what's happened there as well. Robert Beltran, who of course plays Chakotay on Voyager, has kind of like been ostracized a little bit by this crew. And why? Well, he speaks out against these type of things. And you'll see as I post this in just a minute, I'll show you what's happening in this whole situation. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us as we talk about all things in science fiction. And let's talk about cancel culture and the like. I am one of the most canceled people in science fiction. The World Science Fiction Convention actually banned me in 2018. I was actually very afraid to go to the convention then because, of course, we had the same situation where the left controls all of it. I had death threats coming against me, etc. And so I actually emailed them asking what the safety protocols were going to be to protect people like me. They never responded. So, of course, they banned me. Once I bought a ticket, and they posted on their website, they called me a racist bully to try to cancel me. What that did is add a cascade effect where I'm blacklisted from all of publishing. I'm blacklisted from comics, where, of course, I write. I've gotten banned from Kickstarter, from Patreon, from Indiegogo, all because I make YouTube content like this, and the people in the industry want me gone. So when they cry about cancel culture, when they cry about, like, we need to defend free speech and all that, it's nonsense. And I'm not getting anything back. Nobody's come and, like, knocked on Kickstarter's door for me, try to get me back in it. Nobody from the Voyager cast is out there trying to get me into Hollywood as a writer or anything like that. So it's all nonsense. And it's exactly, they just want their side to remain in control, and they're becoming afraid because they are losing a little bit of that control. It's not even a lot of bit of control. Hollywood's still pushing all the same agendas and everything as before, and that's it. So this is my Stars Entwined. If you like Star Trek, especially like Deep Space Nine, I think you'll really enjoy this. And I am doing a space exploration series, which I'm writing right now, which is going to dovetail out of this. That's going to remind you of the classic 90s Star Trek with a lot of fun right here. So support my channel, support real independent arts right here and real free speech, because again, this is what's actually banned. Jimmy Kimmel, I mean, how much money does that guy have? He's going to start a podcast and make millions again. He's going to be supported by the left and their establishment institutions, whether it's Disney or not. And so it's like that guy's still like part of the gatekeeping establishment and is still going to win and is still going to have tons. Over here, you just get axed, you get completely done things, and it's like grinding to sell a book to make sure you can keep your family alive. This is not the same situation whatsoever. So thank you guys for doing this and checking this out. It's a trilogy if you want to grab the whole thing and catch up. Get on my newsletter for my new ones when they come out. This is where science fiction's at, and I appreciate you for being here. It's in the description below. So Robert Picardo said, conservatives once decried cancel culture. Do they object to it now that it appears the official White House policy? He says, note the president said the quiet part out loud. He celebrated Colbert and Kimmel getting canceled, saying Myers and Fallon will soon follow. Why? For hitting Trump. They're being canceled for criticizing him, no matter what excuse given by the FCC. No president, even Nixon at his most paranoid, did this. Satire has been canceled along with the First Amendment. Well, Colbert got removed early because his ratings were poor, and that's exactly what they said. And there's a lot of stuff getting removed at Skydance with the whole situation with Paramount because they've got a lot of redundancies. They're not making that much money. There's been a lot of problems. Obviously, it was not about the political content that he was talking about because South Park went out there and they did the nastiest attacks on Trump possible. And they got a $1.5 billion and just put it up there like right after the Colbert thing happened. So this is not tracking that there's some sort of like canceling of left-wing politics. In fact, all of left-wing politics still permeates Hollywood, and the only people that are still blacklisted are the right. There are no right-wing studios out there that are like big studios. There's some alternative ones. There's no right-wing big actors out there. You're not allowed to be, or you're gone from all this stuff, and it's still there. So cry me a river on this sort of thing, that like this guy said something awful to the point where it's like it's costing them too much. Okay, we don't have enough viewers for it. Okay, and it's pretty obvious what's happening there. And that's basically what President Trump said, that these people are not funny. They're stupid. They've killed late night TV because nobody watches it anymore, and they're talentless hacks. So what I said back was, we've spent a couple decades, especially in the arts, being completely blacklisted. Expecting us to care when not one person on your side has stepped up for us is laughable. And it is laughable. Like I said, I still haven't seen any of it. Nobody in the comic industry is calling for me to be reinstated on Kickstarter. Even now, they haven't gone back and like found that oh gosh, we were wrong about this. No, they all joined in. The people at DC Comics reported me to Kickstarter because they didn't want me to compete. I was actually getting big enough over there to become a threat. That's how I know why I was deplatformed. They didn't want me to, of course, be able to make any kind of living whatsoever. So Robert Picardo says, odd to hear a fellow Christian fist bumping revenge rather than forgiveness and setting a better example to those who feel abused you. Turn the other cheek, deleted from the president's edition of the Bible. I don't know what this has to do with this. Again, I mean, this is what they always do. They try to just be like, well, you're supposed to remain silent. It's like, well, wait a minute. I'm actually way more oppressed than Jimmy Kimmel in this whole situation. Why is this suddenly about like I have to remain silent? Why don't you have to remain silent about this when you're slamming the president every day, right? And so I said, when I see a big group of left-wing influencers standing up demanding Kickstarter, Patreon, WorldCon, SIFWA, the publishing industry, the comic industry, unban me and treat me as a professional because of my freedom of speech, I will be right there. And he said, and of course, this is where they go. Don't know anything about that. So they just absolve themselves of it. They're not interested in cancel culture for real. They're not interested in, of course, this whole blacklist culture that's going on in Hollywood for real. They just want us still axed out of it because they just want their control. He says he's for kindness on social media, post with positive intent. If he says something critical about leadership, he believes it's because his constitutional guarantees are being challenged. But again, none of this mattered when any of that stuff was happening with myself, with Owen Benjamin, the comedian. Why, if he, again, even if he'd take me out of the equation, if he stands up for Owen Benjamin's right to say something, and of course tries to get Owen Benjamin back with Hollywood and is like adamant about that, I'll believe him on this, right? It seems very important. Now, I said, now you know why I'm here, why I'm pushing. The entertainment industry across the board, from my view, is evil and predicated on evil. If there's a corporate establishments and they crumble because of a little pressure here, that's a good thing for the arts in general. And that's where I think we have to be at this point. I'm not here to retake Disney or make Marvel great again or anything like that. I don't think it's doable. Even if they remove the one person who said the horrible things about Charlie Kirk's shooter at DC Comics, and about the shooting there, there's still a whole gaggle of like 99% of people at DC Comics who actually agree with that person, but just didn't say the quiet part out loud. And that's what's happening here. There's a couple spots that are getting removed because, again, those people don't matter. They don't have the clout to matter. And then there's a few that are really just like, the rest of the industry is this exact same way. So what I said in response, in reality, freedom of speech is not a value. Nobody cares about it, which is incidentally what I've always said, especially in my calls to ban pornography, which is the biggest problem in our culture. They just want their side to dictate the content right there. And so on top of this, you then go to Tim Russ, who's saying the exact same thing. He's said awful things about Charlie Kirk, actually deleted his comments because of the pressure he was getting on it. And of course, he's now saying this here, nobody is fighting for our rights except for the comedians. It's an effing shame. And here we are. As far as I'm aware, everyone on the right is still blacklisted from Hollywood. Stand up for Kevin Sorbo, for Real Dean Cain, for Owen Benjamin, and I'll take your shouting seriously. And of course, nobody will say anything. And there it is. Standing up for racists? No thanks. Yeah, I thought this was about cancel culture and free speech. Except the racists, right? And so it's always just about rules for thee and not for me. And that's what's going on here. And that's exactly why I don't take it seriously whatsoever. And these Star Trek actors, if they want to get in on the free speech train, it has to apply to everybody before we're going to lift a finger for them. Otherwise, I'm just going to have some popcorn and laugh because I'm still blacklisted. These guys are still blacklisted. When's it actually going to change in Hollywood? Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And please check out my Stars Entwined and grab this in the description below. Sign up for my newsletter. Get real science fiction from independent arts. And this is the only way to move forward. The corporations are never going to matter, or they don't actually care. It's all about independence. Thanks for being here. We'll be back.